Hi, I'm Adam Blair. I'm the executive editor of Retail Touchpoints, and we're here at the NRF Big Show 2018. And I'm speaking to Chad McIntosh, who is VP of Asset Protection and Risk Management for Bloomingdales. Thanks for talking with us today, Chad.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
All right. So I wanted to ask you some questions about some of the issues around training programs and employee training programs. I know that's something you've given a lot of thought to. What do you think is the problem with most current training programs? Where do they go wrong or lack focus?
Well, the challenge is that you've got a new associate in a short period of time. You got to give them a lot of information. So it's like a fire hose worth of information coming at them all at once. So we take a very traditional approach to training, or we used to. And we would have new hire orientation. That was a week-long event. And out of the 40 hours, I get 1 hour to impart my message about asset protection and safety in the store. That would carry over when they were new in the store to rallies and team meetings and things like that. But you really never understood whether or not they were getting the message, understanding what you wanted them to do, and then executing.
Okay, so there was a disconnect with what was being told to them and whether they were retaining it.
Exactly. So the amount of information that they got in a very short period of time, certainly they weren't retaining it all, only a fraction of it. So we had to find a better way of imparting knowledge to them, and that led us to Axonify.
Oh, okay, great. Well, before we get to that, what do you think are some things that the existing training programs or the way they currently do well? Where are they succeeding?
Well, they succeed in imparting a lot of information in a short period of time.
Okay.
Those things that you need to do the basics going forward as a new employee, that's where it really stops in my mind today.
Okay, all right. Is some of the disconnect have to do with generational issues where the employees, especially the newer employees, are members of the millennial or Gen Z generation, and maybe the training techniques were more geared toward people who are baby boomers or Gen Xers?
So they were really designed for baby boomers and Gen Xers. When you think about it today in the retail environment, we have 4 generations working in our stores today. So you have to find a process and a program that's going to connect with everybody if you truly want to get your message across.
Sure, okay. How do you define, you've talked about personalized learning. How do you define that, and what are some of the ways that what are some of the personalization points, I guess would be the question? So
in using the Axonify platform, we literally can dial in on a particular associate in a particular department in a particular store. So I understand what that particular selling associate is grasping. I know what we need to reinforce with them and make them a more confident, more educated selling associate. A more confident, educated selling associate is going to be more successful.
Makes sense, absolutely. Are there other tools or techniques that you're using to help the training stick more effectively with people or reinforce things? And how are some of the key points or goals reinforced with people?
Yeah, so I think I probably was the first person in history to coin the saying fun and safety in the same sentence, by the way. So we're using gamification in the process really to kind of help with the brain science and help them remember the things we want them to remember. So when they remember what we want them to do, they'll go out and execute it if they're faced with the challenge.
All right, so gamification, something that engages maybe a different part of their brain than might be traditional with training or education?
Exactly, and then we break the training up into small bits and reinforce that with questions along the way to see what the level of understanding is so that we can go back and reinforce the aspect that they didn't quite grasp or continue to make the questions harder and they continue to learn in the process as we go.
Interesting. And obviously I'm not a brain scientist, but I have heard that the more you're either emotionally involved with something or the more you're literally involved with it, the more it's going to stick with you.
Yeah, our selling associates today, because of the platform and the reinforcement, they are more confident. They're able to handle things that come along, don't necessarily need a manager to come and take over the transaction for them. So they've given us a lot of positive feedback about the tool, about the training, and the way that we approach it. So they're engaged in it. Once they're engaged in it, they're going to use the tool, they're going to get smarter, better, sharper.
Great. So are there some specific results that you've been seeing, and what are some specifics that you've seen in terms of either numbers or specific benefits or anecdotes?
Yeah, so when I started with the platform, I started from a safety perspective,
Okay.
because I can measure that from month to month based on our claims experience.
Okay.
So we saw that going down month to month in our pilot stores. When we expanded it to the entire organization, I have saved millions of dollars each and every year and
great.
reduced claims experience, which means we're providing a safer environment both for our associates and our customers.
All right. And where do you see this going in the future? Obviously, it's been a great success. Do you see it expanding to other departments, other kinds of training, other stores?
So it's funny too, because when I started the process, I did this without the learning and development team. I did it with simply brute strength, moving it forward, because I knew it was going to be successful for us. But in today's world, it really is. It's changing the dynamic. It's changing the message a bit more to selling and service, so that we can educate them on a selling perspective and a service perspective that's going to make them a better associate when the customer comes into the store and wants to know about a product or buy something from us, more importantly.
All right. So started with the safety, which is obviously paramount, but also it sounds like has helped the customer experience and the store experience, but now it sounds like it's going more towards other parts of the customer experience, plus some more bottom line issues.
Yeah, when you think about it, being able to do product knowledge training on a very quick basis, because every customer coming into the building already has information about the merchandise at their fingertips.
Right.
So if we can educate our associates at the same speed, by the way, that then they can challenge the customer and make the experience much better for them.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for speaking with me today, Chad. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody.